Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am super excited to share with you the gorgeous Forever and Always bundle from the brand new January to June mini catalog. Now, this bundle is right near the front of the catalog. It's found on page 13 and is part of the absolutely stunning Love You Always suite. Now, this suite I featured in my kickoff video last Friday. So if you haven't watched that yet, you may want to check it out. You'll find it on my YouTube channel. It's posted there. You can fast forward through the chit chat and focus on the make and takes. I did a make and take with this particular suite as well. But today I really want to shine the spotlight on the Forever and Always bundle. Now, let me show you the bundle up close. So we have, as always, a stamp set and a set of dies. So we have beautiful floral images that are awesomely fun to color, but can also work just as line art. I'll show you a project in a minute. And then we also have our sentiments. Now, the cool thing about this is these sentiments coordinate with the dies, so we can make different phrases. But the other cool thing is that you can use a stamp set all by itself without the dies. So it's a really versatile kind of choose your own adventure sort of thing. So if you don't have a die cutting machine, this stamp set totally works on its own without the machine. All right. But of course, I love layers and I love dies. So this die set is fantastic. We have word dies. We have detailed words that cut basically the same font and same lettering as the stamps, but a die cut, and then we can layer it over with a shadow. And we're going to do that in a minute too. We also cut some little banners and then some dies that cut out the stamped images. So just a beautiful, beautiful set. And I'm not going to put that too far away because I am going to need some of these dies today. So I'm going to keep those close at hand. I got a catch in my throat. I have been in Zoom and Google meetings all day. So if my voice cuts out, that's why. This online teaching thing is kind of crazy. Anyway, let me see who is here watching with me before we get going. Let's see who's here. Oh, we got lots of people here. We've got Laura and Gail and Deb and Sarah, Bonnie, Louise, Sue, Ann, Heather, and Judy. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining me. I am loving this bundle and I'm loving this suite. So let's get to it. We're going to kind of work on this card first. We're going to do a little bit of masking today. So I'm going to pull out all my little bits. Actually, I'm going to start with my background. So I'm going to show you how to stamp this beautiful background. So you can see here, or maybe you can't, this is just stamped with the line art image and it's not colored. Okay, so by stamping on the ombre paper, it looks like the flowers are colored even though they aren't. So this is a piece of the Sale-a-bration So Ombre Paper. It's beautiful, beautiful paper. This is my very favorite paper from Sale-a-bration this year. And it's got this beautiful gradation of Rococo Rose. Okay, so this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to bring in my line art flower stamps. There's a larger and a smaller one. And then we have 2 leaves as well, a larger and a smaller leaf. I'm going to do my stamping in basic gray. And I have already, well, I've saved my mask from when I made my sample. It's been used and abused. So I have created 2 masks using Post-it notes. So to do that, you simply stamp your images on the Post-it notes and then fussy cut them out. Okay, so that creates your mask. So we're just going to set those aside because we're going to use them in a minute. So I'm going to start by inking up my blossom. And I'm going to start by stamping 1 large blossom down in this corner. Okay. I'm also going to kind of flip this around and stamp another one at a slightly different angle because I don't want it to be totally matchy-matchy in the top corner. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to bring in my mask, my well-loved, used and abused mask, and I am going to cover up that first image that I stamped. Now, you're going to notice as I'm placing this that I have made my mask purposely just a little bit smaller than my stamped image. Okay, so you're going to see, do you see a little bit of gray outline around the mask? That is so that when I stamp over top with my smaller flower stamp, I'll just do one right here, and you'll see what I mean. I'm going to, there's tends to be a gap when you stamp over top, especially with photopolymer stamps. You want to make sure that you allow for that gap. So by making my mask just slightly smaller, I'll just lift this up for a second so you can see what I mean. We are going to have the edge of that small flower coming right up to the outline of the larger flower. Okay, and that's just a result of making my mask slightly smaller. All right, so let's stamp a couple of more. We'll do another small flower here. Okay, and while I have the mask on, I'm going to add a couple of leaves to my larger flower. So we'll go 1 and 2, and then we'll add a little leaf down here just while we have this little guy down here. Okay, then I'm going to bring in, I'm going to take this guy off. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to add this little small mask, and I'm going to add another leaf onto this one before I get rid of my mask on my large flower. So again, we're just going to stamp. I'm just going to put another leaf right here. Okay, then we can lift this one off. We're going to leave the small one there for a minute, and we're going to stamp a couple more times with the small flower. So we'll add another one here. Okay, then I'm just going to take and move my mask up. Come here, you. My fingers are freezing. It is so cold in this room. And I should have had my space heater on while I was in my meeting to warm it up, but I forgot. Okay, so I'm putting my mask on my other small flower. Then I'm going to stamp a few leaves. Okay, so one there. I'm going to use the small leaf, I think, on this little flower. We'll do another one here, and maybe one more here. Okay, and then I'm going to add my mask again to this larger flower up at the top. Which way did I do this? It goes this way. So again, I have just a little bit of the outline of the flower showing, and I think I'm going to add one more small flower, just sort of right here. Just like that, just peeking in. And then we'll add a couple of leaves as well. So we'll do one there and one there. All right, that should take care of it. So we'll get rid of all of our masks, and voila, we have a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Okay, so masking is a really easy technique that allows you to layer stamped images without getting sort of the outlines kind of all mixed up. All right. Okay, so next we are going to do a little bit of spattering. Actually, before that, we're going to stamp our forever. So I'm going to, if you look here on my sample, I have stamped my forever and on my background paper. Okay, so we're going to do that before we do our spattering, and then we're going to let it dry and we'll stamp our always. So we're going to ink up our forever. Now this, you want to make sure you get it straight. Okay, you kind of only get one shot at this. And for me, it's a little nerve-wracking because, well, I can't tell exactly where I'm putting this because I can't look down at it. It's a little crooked, but hey, we'll live with it. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. And we're going to bring in our aqua painter or water painter. That's our new version of the aqua painter, and some champagne mist shimmer paint. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a shake so that it is well mixed. And when I take off the lid, I have a little bit of paint in the lid. So I'm just going to dip my aqua painter in there, and I'm just going to flick. Now you want to, I'm going to try to get a little bit more on the flowers, and then I'll add a little bit sort of to the overall background here. But I kind of wanted my flowers to be a little extra shimmery. And that's all there is to it. Now, I'm not sure how well that shows up on the camera. It may not, but it gives us this beautiful shimmer and shine all over. So we're going to set that aside to dry for a minute. And I'm going to bring in my large always stamp. And I have a little scrap. Whoops, I just dropped my ribbon. That would be bad. We need our ribbon. I'm going to bring in this small scrap of white, and we're going to stamp always in Rococo Rose ink. So we're going to ink up our always. This is a large stamp. You're going to need the large block E to stamp or to mount it. And we're just going to stamp this in the middle of our scrap of cardstock here. Oh, Louise, you can't get away with just the DSP and ribbon. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how easy it is to die cut these. And I'm going to bring in my cute little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. I love this little fella. He's so, so cute. And I need my Always die. So this die actually has two functions. So one is to cut out the stamped Always. Okay, we're going to do that in a minute. The other is to act as a shadow behind the die cut Always. Okay, so it's kind of dual purpose. And we need our platforms here. Okay, so we are going to put our plate down. Now, I do not have a magnetic plate for this. The magnetic plate for this is not currently available because they had issues, if you'll recall, with the larger machine. So they pulled the mini magnetic plate as well until they get the issues resolved. So I am going to just take and put a Post-it note right over top of this to hold it in place so it doesn't shift on me. And we're going to put our other plate on top and we're just going to run it through this little fella. He's so, so cute. And we will pull it out. Get rid of our Post-it. These are super sticky Post-it notes. Like super sticky. They're the ones that I use for masking. And there is my die cut Always. Isn't that great? Love it. All right, so let's toss that. I forgot to leave my little trash bin out. And we'll get this guy out of the way. We're not going to put him too far away because we're going to need him in a minute again. And we are ready to mount this onto the front of our cardstock here, or our DSP. Now, before we do that, I have some of the gorgeous ribbon from this suite. This is Blushing Bride metallic ribbon. So one side is Blushing Bride satin with just a really subtle shimmer of gold. The other side is Fantasticness. It's gold with Blushing Bride trim, and oh my stars, I absolutely love it. So I'm going to trim just one, and this is just a little scrap that I had left over from something else. So I'm going to just trim it at a bit of an angle, and we are going to arrange this. So first of all, we want to figure out where our Always is going to go. Now, remember I stamped my Forever a little bit crooked, so I'm actually going to mount my Always a little crooked, and then my Forever will look like it was meant to be that way. The cool thing about this is because it's a script, you can get away with it being a little bit crooked. So I'm going to put my ribbon right about there. So my Always is going to kind of sit on top of my ribbon like that. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of hold that in place. I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal. Uh-oh, this is my empty Stampin' Seal. Hold the phone. Got to get my full one. All right, let's try that again. So let's just make sure this is where we want it. So my Always is going to be a teensy bit crooked. My ribbon's going to go right about there. We'll get rid of the empty one so I don't keep picking it up. And I'm just going to put a little bit of seal right where my ribbon's going to go. And that's just going to hold it in place. Okay. Then I'm going to add a little bit on the back side. Look at that beautiful Bermuda Bay ombre on the back. So yummy. All right, so there is our ribbon. Now we're ready to add our Always. So we're going to add a few mini dimensionals. Now we certainly could use the foam adhesive sheets. In fact, I am going to be using them on one of the projects, actually the next project. I'm going to show you a couple of tips. I'm actually going to show you how to die cut with them because I think they're a little bit intimidating to some of us, but they're actually really, really cool. So I'm going to show you how to use it. But for now, we're just going to use dimensionals. We'll get rid of all of these backings and pop this on. Okay, it's going to go on right about there. And again, I want my Forever to look like it's just kind of following my Always. Okay, and then I wanted just a really subtle little gold embellishment, and I was kind of going through my embellishments. I couldn't find anything, and then I remembered these awesome Forever Gold laser cut DSP pieces. So these are from the specialty paper, and all I did is I cut a couple of leaves off of this sort of fern. So I'm just going to take and trim off a little bit. So you're using next to nothing, right? Now this may work. Nope, it's not going to quite work. So I'm going to actually cut this a little bit shorter. And it's just going to tuck right in. I'm I'm actually going to cut these into individual leaves. It's easier. They're going to tuck right in underneath the Y in always. There we go. So we're going to tuck one in under here. Okay, it's just going to kind of tuck in there, and then the other guy is just going to kind of layer over top, just like that. Just really subtle, little bit of gold. So the easiest way to do that, I'm just going to grab a glue dot with my take your pick. I'm going to tuck it in underneath my Y. Okay, I want it to stick to my card. And then I'm going to bring one of my little ferny bits in here, tuck it in there. And then my other one's going to just sit on top like that. And we'll just kind of play around a little bit with it and press it into place. Okay, super easy DIY embellishment. I love those laser cut sheets. So then I wanted it to pop against my Rococo Rose background, or card base rather. So I decided to layer it. Of course I layered it. I layer everything, right? So this is a piece of Whisper White cardstock. It is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it is going to layer behind my DSP piece beautifully. So we'll just add a little bit of adhesive. And we're going to pop that on there. Very narrow little 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Okay, and then my Rococo Rose card base is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll fold that in half along our score line. And we're gonna add a little bit of adhesive. And we're gonna pop that onto the front of our card. Just like that. All right, and then the last touch is a little bit of bling, because we all need bling in our lives. So I have some of the, what are these called? Gilded gems, that's what they're called. They are from the annual, and they come in 3 sizes. So we have large, medium, and small. I wanted it to be really subtle, so I'm just gonna use 3 of the small ones. Okay, you could certainly use 1 of each if you wanted to, but we're just gonna kind of pop them on here just to add a little bit of bling, and we're done. Isn't that pretty? I don't know if the shimmer paint shows up on the camera, does it? I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's just beautiful. I think it's really, really pretty. Now, did I do anything on the inside? Yes, I did. Look, I stamped on the inside just some more of the those line art flowers. I didn't worry about masking this time, just because I was only doing partial images. And you could certainly, turn this into an anniversary card. You could make it a wedding card. You could make it a shower card, right? Lots of possibilities for that one. So that is number 1 done. Now let me clean up a bit of my mess here. And we're gonna move on to number 2. All right, so number 2 is this beauty. Now, I love black and white, or black and white on its own, but then when you add a pop of color, it is just fantastic. So this is black and white, obviously, with a little bit of Smoky Slate and then some Daffodil Delight, and it just pops beautifully. Now, I've done a lot of the prep work on this one because I wanted to show you how to die cut with the foam adhesive sheets. That was kind of my focus with this one. So you will see that I have already done my coloring. I know some of you like to watch me color, but I didn't want you to have to sit here and watch me color and then watch me die cut. So I'll just tell you how I colored this. So I colored using my dark Daffodil Delight, and then I added shadow with my dark Mango Melody. Okay, so that's how I did the flowers. And then the leaves are just light Smoky Slate. I did masking again, just like we did on the last card. All right, super, super basic. But I wanted to show you how to die cut using the foam adhesive sheet. So I'm gonna clear some space. So this is just a piece of basic black cardstock, and then I have a piece of the foam adhesive sheet. I cut off, I don't know, what is this, like 2 inches? So I wanted to show you how to feed it through the mini machine. I just realized this is too big a piece to feed through, so we gotta cut it. So let's cut this guy in half so that it'll fit through our little mini guy. All right, so to apply this to our cardstock, we're just going to, this is double-sided adhesive, just like a giant dimensional. I gotta cut a little bit off this as well so that it fits. So it's like having a giant dimensional. Now this little piece that I cut off, you don't want to throw out, right? That is a dimensional. So if you have a larger piece that you want to pop up, you can use that. All right. So there's no waste with these things at all. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. I'm going to peel off one side. Doesn't really matter which side you peel off. And stick it to one side of my cardstock. Okay. Then I need my love die. So this is the same kind of die as the Always was, but it's the one that says love. Okay. I'm going to bring back my mini machine. And we are going to die cut the word love from the foam adhesive sheets. So you want to put it with your adhesive side down, okay, cardstock up. I'm going to put my love on there. I'm going to add my top plate, and we are going to go through forwards, and then I'm going to back it up. I find if I go through twice, because I'm using the foam sheets, I kind of need that extra run through. Okay, then I always like to check to make sure, did it cut all the way through? Looks pretty good. I'm going to go one more time just to make sure I get a nice clean cut, and it makes it easier to pop it out. Okay. Yes, cute mini. Cute, cute, cute mini. I love it. All right, so that's a nice clean cut. So we're going to get this little guy out of the way again. And we're going to pull our die off there, and you're going to see that that pops right out of there. And now we have this awesome die cut that is nice and thick and will give us nice dimension. Now, I want to show you something else. If you look at my card, I'm going to show you my sample. I used my die cut as it is. It comes out white, right? But I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice if we had black adhesive sheets? We don't. But it would be nice if we did, right? This is a time where I would like to have black. So I thought, well, why not take my dimensional and make it black? So I'm taking the brush tip of my dark black Stampin' Blends, and I'm just going to run the brush tip all the way around the edge. Now you kind of need to come at it because you'll have some of the backing that may get in your way, so you have to kind of maneuver. But I'm just going to color that all the way around, and then I'm going to have a nice black edge on it, and it's going to really pop against my white background. So we're just going to take this, run it all the way around. Again, you want to make sure you're using the side of your brush tip. Don't use the tip, okay? You don't want to wreck your tip. Use the side. Go all the way around. Get the inside of that there. This little bit's a little bit tricky to do. We're going to come all the way around. There we go. Okay, so now I have a nice dark edge on that. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and apply that to our stamped and colored panel. So this panel is just Whisper White cardstock. Basic White is what is now available. I haven't got my Basic White yet, so I can't comment on how similar it is. I will as soon as I get it. So this is cut to 3 by 4 inches. Okay, and my love is going to go on right about there. Okay, now I'm not going to glue that on yet because I want to apply my layer on top. So I have die cut the detailed word love, and you're going to notice it comes actually in 2 pieces. You get an L, a monogram. How thoughtful of Stampin' Up! To create a monogram L for me. I thought it was very thoughtful of them. And then the letters L-O-V or O-V-E. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and layer those first before we glue this on. Now I have put I added multi-purpose adhesive sheets on the back before I die cut my word to make it easy to stick these down. Those are a must-have, if you ask me, when you're doing any of these detailed die cuts. So much easier than fussing with fine tip glue. Trust me. And then we're going to add our beautiful monogram L. So we'll pop that guy on here. There we go. And look at how that pops against the black. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and glue that on, as well as, actually we won't put our U more on yet. I'll just place it so I know where it's going to go. So we are going to place this, I don't know, right about here-ish. Okay, and our love is going to go on a little bit to the left. All right, so we're going to put that on now. So we'll just peel off our backing. Now, warning, these are super sticky, okay? These adhesive sheets or the foam adhesive sheets are very, very sticky. So once it's on. It ain't moving, okay? Don't even try. All right, but look at how that pops. Can you see the difference in the way that pops against the background? Just having that black border. Love it. All right, so let's assemble the rest of the card. I have my background. This is from some of the True Love DSP. It's from the same suite. Love this DSP. One side is all florals. The other side is all like graphic patterns, which is perfect for just about anything. All right. I love this paper. It is cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. Hello, sister. How are you? And I also have a piece of this black and white polka dot. This is my favorite pattern in this pack. I love the polka dots, but we are going to color it because I wanted a pop of color behind my focal image. So I'm going to bring in my Daffodil Delight ink pad and my sponge dauber, and I am going to apply very heavy-handedly, because I want it to be quite dark, some Daffodil Delight ink to both ends of my DSP. And I am loving black and yellow polka dots, like loving. You could do this in any color. You could do a whole series, right? Do the rainbow in this card. Run through your entire Brights collection. All right, so that's all I need to do. I don't need to do the center because it's going to get covered. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere my DSP. It's going to go 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom edge. Okay, so we'll add a little bit of adhesive. We're going to pop this on, and again, use your grid paper to help you get these things straight. If you are someone who has a crooked eye, like I sometimes do, you want to make sure you use your grid paper to your advantage, okay? Next, I have a layer that is going to go behind my focal image, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to see more of my ribbon. If I had put my ribbon on here and then layered this on top, I would only see just the teensiest little bit of that beautiful glittery ribbon, right? So I instead glued this on first, then put my ribbon, then my focal image. And that gives me an extra bit of real estate for my ribbon to show. So we're going to glue this on. It's going to go on center. This is Smoky Slate cardstock. It's cut to 3 1/4. Yes, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. I had to double check that measurement. And we're going to put this on centered on our background panel and hopefully straight. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in some of this gorgeous black organdy glittered ribbon. So I'm going to add a glue dot to one end. And we're going to layer that right across our card front here. We'll trim off the roll. Add another glue dot to the back of this side. Okay. Oh, the glue dot didn't stick to my ribbon. Glue dot is not cooperating today. There we go. Pop that on there. Okay. Now I'm ready to glue this onto my card base. So before we add anything else, we're going to layer this on our card base. This is Smoky Slate cardstock. Same dimensions as the last card. So 4 1/4 by 11. Scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll fold that in half. Yes, itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini. Absolutely, Heather. I wasn't even thinking that, but now it's totally, how could I not think of that? That was a song that I used to sing over and over again when I was a little girl. I thought it was the funniest song. I had no idea what it was really about, but I just thought it was hilarious. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue that DSP to our card front. And then we're ready to add our focal image. So that is going to get centered on our Smoky Slate layer. And you see how we see just a little bit more of that ribbon? I just like being able to see that pretty ribbon, right? Why use pretty ribbon if you're going to cover it all up? So we are going to add a bit of adhesive again. Come on. And we're going to center this on our Smoky Slate layer. So I'm kind of ignoring the ribbon, right? I'm not paying any attention. I just want to make sure I center this on my Smoky Slate piece. And straight is always better than not. Okay, then we're ready to add, where did it go? Uh-oh, there it is. We're going to add You More. All right, that's going to just get glued flat. So I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue. Dig it out of my basket here. So I'll just put a little titch of glue on the back of that. Now this I did ahead of time. I heat embossed it in white on black cardstock and then die cut it using those little banner dies from the die set. And again, I just want to try and get this straight, as straight as I can. You guys crack me up. All right, and then the last thing is to tie a pretty bow. So here's your bow lesson for this week. This ribbon is so yummy to tie bows with. It's really, really easy. So I'm going to pinch my ribbon between my thumb and index finger to make 2 loops. I'm going to cross my left loop over the right, bring it through, and pull. Okay, and then we play with our loops to tease a pretty little bow out of what isn't so pretty to start. And the tighter you pull this ribbon, the prettier your bow is. Okay, so you want a really nice tight knot, and you get a really cute little bow. So we're going to trim our tails, get rid of the roll here, and we're going to press the knot of our bow into a glue dot. And then that's going to go right where the ribbon meets the white cardstock there. Okay, just like that. Isn't that cute? I love it. So, so cute. All right, now you guys have got me thinking itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikinis. Every time I look at this card, that's what I'm going to think about. Thanks a lot, Heather. All right, so that is number 2. Done. All right, now number 3. Now this card I posted earlier today. And when I first got this bundle, this suite, I kind of thought, oh, it's so girly. It's pretty, it's girly, but I don't have a lot of, well, I don't have any girls in my family, aside from my mom and my sister-in-law. I've got all boys, my husband and my son. So I need boy cards more than I need girl cards. And I wanted to make a card that was masculine, had a bit of a masculine vibe, using this suite. So that was my challenge that I set for myself. So that is what I did. So I'm going to show you how I did it. I think this is a perfect masculine card. In fact, I think this is going to be John's Valentine's card this year. I just love the combination of Sahara Sand and black. I think it's a great combo. And this totally works on the inside. I say that to him all the time. So I think that's a really awesome man card. So let me show you how I did it. It's pretty easy, easier than the last 2. So to start, let's set this aside. I have a piece of this gorgeous specialty paper. So in the suite, there are 3 papers, okay? There is the True Love, which is the black and white. There is this beautiful specialty paper, which comes in 3 shades. It's got Sahara Sand, Rococo Rose, and Blushing Bride. And they have different patterns. So the Sahara Sand one has this awesome leaf pattern, which totally works for masculine cards. So this is cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches, okay? Then I wanted some ribbon that was not super girly, so I pulled out, this is from the Forever Greenery suite. It's this beautiful sort of off-white, gauzy, soft ribbon. And it just works perfectly. Like, look how great that looks against the Sahara Sand. I just love it. So we are going to take a couple of glue dots, press the end of our ribbon in there. And I'm going to put this about 1/2 inch in from the left edge. Now, when I am adhering this, I want to leave it a little bit loose. I don't want to pull it too tight. That is because we are going to gather this and tie a knot, okay, or tie a bow. So I don't want this to be so tight that it causes my DSP to buckle. So I just kind of want to let it lay across there. It can be a little bit on the loose side. So I'm going to add, whoopsie. Come on. Couple of glue dots. I like to use 2 glue dots with this ribbon because it is a little bit wider. This is actually, I think, 3/4 inch ribbon. I think it's 3/4 of an inch. Okay. And then I'm going to layer this on some of this beautiful Sahara Sand foil. Now this almost looks like a sort of a white gold. Okay. And I kind of chose this because we did our wedding bands in white gold. So I thought this was kind of appropriate. Now, if you wanted to save on foil, you could absolutely die cut your word always from this before you layer it. And I know many of you are very thrifty, so you can certainly die cut your always from the foil before you layer it. Okay. I had lots of scrap of this, so I cut this ahead of time before I cut my sheet. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and layer that just like that. So, so pretty. So we'll add a little bit of adhesive. And I love Seal. I think I've said this before. I love that I can run right over my ribbon and it actually sticks. So again, I'm going to layer this, and you're going to see the way that this foil border just makes that leaf pattern pop. To see how that just brings out the pattern in the leaves. Love it. Okay, next, I have a stitch label that I have die cut using the stitch label die. So this is, again, that same True Love DSP. And I'm going to cut one end off of this using just my mini trimmer here. So I'm basically going to line it up with right at where the point sort of angles. Okay, so I'm just going to line up that edge and cut that off. All right, so we'll get that out of the way. Get rid of our little bit here. And then that is going to go on right flush with the edge of the DSP, not the foil, the DSP. Okay, so we're going to pop that up with a couple of dimensionals. I'm actually going to use my scrap piece of foam adhesive sheet because I can. So we're going to put that right along the edge. Look at that. It's like I planned it, people. You'd think I did. Where did my dimensionals go? I got too much stuff on my desk. Where'd they go? Dimensionals. There they are. They're in the basket. I put them away. Who'd have thought? I cleaned up. All right. So let's just add a couple more so that that stays well adhered. We'll get rid of our backings. And then we're going to glue this on. Now, we're going to glue it a little bit. We're not going to put it right in the middle. I'm going to put it a little bit towards the bottom. And I'm just going to line up that straight edge with the edge of my DSP and stick that down. Okay, just like that. Then I'm going to bring it, actually, let's put it on our card base first, make our lives easier. So this is a basic black card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5 inches, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we will fold that in half along our score line. You got it, Louise. It's so rare that I actually put stuff back while I'm in the middle of crafting that that's the last place I look, where they belong. All right, so we're going to add, again, a little bit of adhesive here to the back of our foil. Come on. And then we're going to pop this onto the front of our card base. And again, we have a nice narrow border, just the way I like it. Okay. All right. So now we're going to tie a little bow with some twine. So this is the only fiddly part on this card. All right. Because you have to actually tie a bow while this is stuck down. It can be a little bit fiddly. So I'm going to, if it decides to cooperate, I'm going to use my spatula tip of my Take Your Pick to lift this up so I can get my twine underneath, because it doesn't want to cooperate because my fingers are frozen. So let's just slide that underneath. There we go. And I'm just going to cut off, I don't know, 8 or 10 inches of the linen thread. And then I'm going to come right up underneath my label there. And I'm going to tie a knot. Okay, and this is why we had to leave a little bit of slack in that ribbon when we were gluing it on. And then tie a bow. So this is just like tying your shoes, no different. Okay, and then we're gonna make our bow loops nice and small. Clean them up. Okay, you wanna make sure your knot is pulled nice and tight so that your bow doesn't slip. There we go. And then we'll trim off the excess from our tails. Oh, use your good scissors, Lena. Don't use your paper scissors to cut ribbon. Okay, and then we're going to add a couple of these little leaves. Now, these are from the In Good Taste Elements. All right, they are kind of stained a little bit darker on one side, and then on the other side, they're more natural. I used the natural side. I didn't really like the dark stain, but the more natural one, I really quite like the look of. So one of them we're going to just kind of tuck up underneath. The other one's going to kind of sit on top like that. So the easiest way to do that is to add a little bit of liquid glue to these little guys. So this guy's going to tuck up underneath just like that, just kind of peek out. And then this one, because he's going on top, we can actually no, I'll still use liquid glue. I was going to say you could use a glue dot. The only problem with the glue dot is that they will show through the little cutouts on these. So I tend to use liquid glue more with these little guys, just especially if they're going to be sitting on top of something where you might see the glue dot showing through. So we're just going to stick that down and let it set. Okay, while that's happening, we are going to stamp our sentiments. So I have one. Do I have two? Yes, I do. I have two little banners that I have cut ahead of time from Sale-a-bration cardstock, and this is where the ultimate challenge is, because I have to try and center these stamps on these little bitty pieces of cardstock on live camera. So pray for me, people. All right, here we go. So let's start with, oh, I got the wrong sentiment on here. I need forever and. I've got the wrong sentiment. Where is forever and? Did I put it? Oh, I know. It's in the other kit. That's why. I used it on the first card. Ah! All right, so here we go. We're going to do together. So we'll stamp this guy, and we're going to just hope and pray that this is somewhat straight and somewhat centered, because I really, really can't see. Hope and pray. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, that's the one down. Next one, forever and. Again, I'm stamping in Memento Tuxedo Black ink. You can use whatever black you have. And again, we're going to just kind of hope and pray that this is somewhat straight. Oh, it's pretty good. All right, we'll take it. All right, let's get these out of the way. And we are going to assemble our always. We're going to just set those aside for a second. We are going to assemble our layered die cut. So we have the word always. This is the detailed. Isn't that a beautiful font? I love it. So I cut that out of the Sahara sand foil. And then we have the solid always. This is the same die that I used to cut the word always on the first card. Okay. And it is going to layer perfectly behind the detailed one. Okay. So again, I've used some adhesive sheets on the back of this. Just to make it easy to adhere. So we'll get rid of the backing. And when I'm gluing this, I like to start and kind of work backwards. So I always start at the S. I just find it easiest to kind of work, maybe because I'm right-handed, I like to be able to kind of work backwards. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. It's highly possible. And you just kind of want to take your time and get this lined up so you have nice even borders all the way around. That's not sitting quite where I want it. There we go. And then there we go. Isn't that pretty? I love that. So pretty. Now this is going to get glued on just flat. I'm not going to pop it because I already popped my label. All right, so we're going to add just a little bit of liquid glue to the back. I'm not going to worry about putting any right here. We're actually going to put a dimensional there in a sec, just because it's going to hang off the edge of the label. And we have already popped our label, right? So we're going to put a dimensional there. And this is going to just kind of sit right about there. And hopefully straight. The nice thing about the liquid glue is you do get that little bit of wiggle time. Okay. And then forever and then together are going to go on just like that. And again, I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue. So we'll pop forever and right about there. And again, hopefully straight. That is not straight. And again, the nice thing about this paper is like the pattern helps me to get things straight. So you can look at the pattern and use that as a guide. All right, and then we'll do together. And we'll pop that guy on. And I kind of went over a little bit just to add a little bit of graphic interest there. And there we go. How's that for a man card? You like that one? I think it totally works for a man card. Now, again, on the inside of this one, I added a Whisper White layer. I stamped the word love in Sahara Sand and then stamped You More in black. Okay, so that is that. You guys like those? I hope so. Let me bring them all back again. So there is our itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini card. And there's our first card. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed these. Thanks so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you again next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.